Step into the summer of 1992, where the airwaves crackled with the sounds of rock legends and rising stars alike. From anthems that define a generation to heartfelt confessions and electrifying riffs. These were the songs that dominated Billboard's album rock charts for the week ending July 4th, 1992. Based on your feedback, I've tweaked a few things this week, and I'm also going to go over the top 5 of the modern rock tracks chart, which highlighted the most popular alternative music at the time. People were pretty surprised by last week's countdown for the year of 1990, and I have to admit, I was surprised too. Now, before we start, I want you guys to list what you think will be on the top 10 this week in the comments below, and let's see who's the most accurate. My guesses before even looking at the list include Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, and probably Metallica. Number 10 this week was the title track from Matthew Sweet's album Girlfriend. Sweet emerged from the 1980s Athens, Georgia music scene, playing with acts like OK and the Golden Palominos before he launched a solo career. After 2 under-the-radar albums, Sweet finally broke through with 1991's Girlfriend, which became a power pop landmark. The album's success was fueled by its emotional honesty, jangly guitars, and Sweet's melodic sensibility. By 1992, Sweet was recognized as a leading figure in the power pop revival. Girlfriend was a top 10 hit even on the modern rock tracks chart, peaking at number 4. This week on the mainstream rock tracks chart represented the song's peak position. Sweet had written Girlfriend during a pretty turbulent period following his divorce, channeling his heartbreak into the album's raw and emotionally direct lyrics and sound. The song's confessional tone and vulnerability are a hallmark of the album, which Sweet has described as a cathartic experience. It was in July of 2017, Sweet told WXRT Radio in Chicago that a friend and musician on the album, Lloyd Cole, is the one who convinced him that it was a good song worthy of the record. Cole also inspired the song's title. He explained, Matthew kept talking about good friend. He'd recently been separated from his wife, and I don't think he wanted to address the issue straight on and say girlfriend. And I said, for God's sake, just call it Girlfriend. Number 9 this week is Canadian rocker Tom Cochrane. Cochrane had begun his career as a solo artist in the 70s, and then he found some fame as the frontman for Canadian rock band Red Rider from 1977 to 1989. With Red Rider, he scored Canadian hits like Human Race and Big League, and achieved US radio success. It was after leaving the group Cochrane's 1991 solo album Mad Mad World, driven by the anthemic Life is a Highway, brought him to international stardom, earning him major awards and multi-platinum sales. It was by 1992 he was known for intelligent, questioning songwriting and had become a major figure in Canadian music. Life is a Highway ultimately peaked at number 5 on this chart, and the song was Cochrane's only top 40 hit in the United States, reaching number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. In Canada, the song stayed at the number 1 spot for 2 weeks. Cochrane has said that Life is a Highway was inspired by a trip he took to Africa, which gave him a new perspective on life and resilience. He wrote it as an anthem about the journey of life and overcoming adversity, aiming for a universally uplifting message. Famously, the song has been covered by numerous artists, most notably Rascal Flatts for the Car soundtrack, making it a hit for a new generation, and it peaked at number 7 on the Hot 100 chart, 1 position lower than Cochrane's. And just this year, Rascal Flatts covered the song with Lizzie Hale. Number 8 this week was Even Flow by Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam formed in Seattle in 1990. It was born out of the ashes of Mother Love Bone with founding members Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament, joined by Eddie Vedder, Mike McCready, and drummer Dave Cruzan. Their 1991 debut, 10, became one of the defining albums of the grunge era and the decade, blending classic rock influences with alternative grit. By 1992, Pearl Jam were now global superstars known for their passionate live shows and their refusal to embrace mainstream music industry norms, as well as, of course, for their hits like Alive, Jeremy, and Even Flow from their first record. Frontman Eddie Vedder wrote the lyrics Even Flow about a homeless man he often saw outside his Seattle apartment, reflecting on empathy and social issues. The band had discussed the song's notoriously difficult recording process with dozens of takes needed to capture the right energy. Number 7 this week is Living in a Dream by Archangels. Archangels formed in Austin, Texas in the early 90s, uniting guitarists and singers Doyle Bramhall II and Charlie Sexton with Double Trouble's rhythm section, Chris Layton and Tommy Shannon, who had played previously with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Their 1992 self-titled debut album received critical acclaim for its blues rock sound and musicianship. Despite early promise and high-profile TV appearances, the band's initial run was brief due to internal struggles. Members later, however, found success with acts like Eric Clapton and Bob Dylan. 57 channels and nothing on. 57. Number 6 this week on the charts was 57 Channels and Nothing On by Bruce Springsteen. Now, Bruce Springsteen had started his career in the 70s and became an icon of American rock with albums like Born to Run and Born in the USA. Known for his poetic, working-class lyrics and marathon concerts, Springsteen's career spanned heartland rock, folk, and pop. By 1992, he had parted ways with the E Street Band and released Human Touch and Lucky Town, exploring new musical territory and personal themes. Springsteen wrote the song as a satirical commentary on the explosion of cable television and media overload in the early 90s. He later described the song and his video as an attempt at irony, calling it a playful misfire and a break from his usual approach. This week represented the song's peak on the mainstream rock tracks chart, and it was a crossover hit peaking at number 68 on the Hot 100. Number 5 this week was Make Love Like a Man by Def Leppard. Def Leppard had formed in Sheffield, England in 1977 and rose to fame as part of the new wave of British heavy metal. Their albums Pyromania from 1983 and 1987's Hysteria achieved massive global success, despite drummer Rick Allen losing his arm in 1984. Guitarist Steve Clark had died in 1991, and by 1992 the band had now evolved into a 4-piece for Adrenalize, continuing their run of arena rock hits with a polished melodic sound. The band had described this song as intentionally tongue-in-cheek, poking fun at the macho rock cliches. Frontman Joe Elliott has said the lyrics were meant to be humorous, not taken seriously, and the band often jokes about it in interviews. Number 4 this week is Sting Me by the Black Crowes. Brothers Chris and Rich Robinson had formed the Black Crowes in Atlanta in 1984, originally as Mr. Crow's Garden. The band broke through, though, in 1990 with Shake Your Moneymaker, which featured hits like Hard to Handle. Their follow-up, The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion in 1992, debuted at number 1 and cemented their reputation as torchbearers for Southern rock and blues revival. By 1992, the Crowes were known for their raw, soulful sound and dynamic live performances. Sting Me was written by Chris and Rich Robinson. The song opens with Rich's infectious riff and features lyrics that use the metaphor of a needle sting to address themes of drug use and legalization. The band is known for blending catchy melodies with thought-provoking lyrics, inviting listeners to question societal norms and challenge the status quo. Number 3 this week was Road to Nowhere by Ozzy Osbourne. If you guys remember, about a month ago, I had done a video on the very album this song appeared on, if you guys want to go check it out. Ozzy first gained fame as the lead singer of Black Sabbath from 1969 to 1978, helping invent heavy metal with his distinctive voice and dark lyrics. After leaving Sabbath, he then launched a successful solo career with albums like Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. But by 1992, Ozzy was a legendary figure in rock and metal, known for both his music and his wild persona. Ozzy has described this song as deeply personal and reflective, exploring existential themes and the search for meaning in life's chaos. The lyrics use metaphors of a winding road and barren landscape to evoke feelings of aimlessness and introspection. This week represented the song's peak on the mainstream rock tracks chart. Number 2 this week was Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Formed in Los Angeles in 1982, the Chili Peppers blended funk, punk, and rock, with founding members Anthony Kiedis and Flea at its core. Early albums built a cult following, but the addition of guitarist John Frusciante and drummer Chad Smith in 1989 led to their commercial breakthrough with Mother's Milk and then Blood Sugar Sex Magic in 1991. By 92, the Chili Peppers were global superstars known for their energetic performances and a unique sound that helped define alternative rock. Anthony Kiedis originally wrote Under the Bridge as a poem about his feelings of isolation and past drug use. Producer Rick Rubin encouraged him to turn it into a song, despite Kiedis' initial reluctance. John Frusciante composed the uplifting chord progression to contrast these somber lyrics, and the song's grand ending features Frusciante's own mom and her choir friends, adding emotional weight. Before I reveal it to you guys, I want to give you a couple clues. The number one song this week is the theme song for the wrap-up show for The Howard Stern Show with John Hine and Gary Dell'Abate. The song was also found on this group's second album, which came out in 1992. This band not only had a number one hit this week on the Billboard album charts, they had another top 10 hit as well. Number one this week is Remedy by the Black Crowes. Chris Robinson has said that Remedy is about freedom, written in response to the war on drugs, which he considered silly. The song's message is a call for personal liberty and resistance to government overreach. Now let's take a look at the top 5 songs on the Modern Rock Tracks chart, which highlights this week's most popular songs in the alternative music world. Number 5 this week on the alternative rock charts was the Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead by XTC. XTC had formed in Swindon, England in the late 70s, and they evolved from edgy new wave and punk into sophisticated pop rock. Led by Andy Partridge and Colin Moulding, they became cult favorites for their clever songwriting and inventive arrangements. Andy Partridge had written this song after carving a jack-o'-lantern and watching it decay on his garden fence. This inspired him to imagine a perfect person like Peter Pumpkinhead, who, despite doing good for the world, is ultimately destroyed by those in power. The lyrics are a satirical, modern parable about martyrdom and the fate of those who challenge the status quo. Number 4 this week was Far Gone and Out by the Jesus and Mary Chain. The group was founded by the Scottish brothers Jim and William Reid in 1983, and they're icons of alternative rock known for blending noisy guitars with pop melodies and pioneering the shoegaze and noise pop genres. The song was written and produced by the Reid brothers. Far Gone and Out features their signature feedback-drenched sound. The song's lyrics are pretty cryptic, but the band has said much of their work from this period was about the emotional numbness and the struggle to connect themes that run throughout Honey's Dead. Number 3 this week was Good Stuff by the B-52s. The B-52s had formed in Athens, Georgia in 1976, and they're celebrated for their quirky, danceable new wave hits and flamboyant style. After the loss of guitarist Ricky Wilson in 1985, they staged a major comeback with their 1989 album Cosmic Thing and continued their success into the 90s. Good Stuff was the band's first single from their 6th album, and it was written during a period of transition. Cindy Wilson was on hiatus, and the song is a playful celebration of life's pleasures. Number 2 this week was We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful by Morrissey. Morrissey had launched a successful solo career following the Smiths' breakup in 1987. Known for his wit and melancholic lyrics and distinctive voice, he remained a provocative figure in British music through the early 90s. The song is a sardonic take on jealousy within the music scene, particularly among Manchester bands. The song was produced by Mick Ronson, who added a glam rock edge. Number 1 this week on the alternative charts was Friday, I'm in Love by The Cure. The Cure, led by Robert Smith since their 1976 formation, are legendary for their evolution from post-punk and gothic rock to pop-infused hits. By 1992, they were international superstars known for both dark anthems and joyful singles. Robert Smith described Friday I'm in Love as a throw your hands in the air, let's get happy song, a deliberate burst of pop optimism. Smith was so convinced he'd accidentally stolen the melody that he played it for friends just to check. The song's final version is slightly off key due to a tape speed error, but its exuberance made it an instant classic and a counterpoint to the band's goth reputation. So there you guys have it, our trip from fanny packs to flannel, reliving the unforgettable hits that ruled the rock charts for one wild summer. Whether you were blasting these tunes on your CD player or Walkman, or catching them on late night radio or TV shows, or just discovering them now for the first time, these songs prove that great music never goes out of style. Which track brought back the most memories for you guys, and how accurate were you in predicting this week's list? Let me know in the comments section below, and be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed that video. And that brings us to the end of today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.